I'm not even gonna do an introduction today, okay? That's how irritated that I am. My name's Richard. This is Triad Travelogues. There you go, there's your introduction. And I am a disgruntled ESL teacher. I teach English in China, and I've been here for 5 years. I've been teaching English for 5 years, and I'm sick to death of it. And I'm gonna show you guys, because I try and sugarcoat things a lot of times on this channel to make it appear like more like happy and joyous. And this is my big adventure. I'm on this big ESL adventure, guys, and it's such a great thing, and you should try it too. But the reality is, it sucks. And today I'm gonna show you a day in the life of a disgruntled ESL teacher. So the first thing I gotta do before I can even go to work, before I can even leave my house, is I gotta get a piece of mail. And I'm pretty sure that there's like a parcel that was delivered from the grocery store, and I think it has a radish in it. It's a box with a single radish in it, and I gotta use these. Instead of like delivering it to the house like a normal grocery store would, they deliver it to one of these parcels, and then they send you a code in your phone, and then you have to use the code to open up the parcel so you can get the box that has a single friggin' radish in it. And the weird thing about this delivery service, it's a supermarket called Hema Supermarket, and my wife will order like a bunch of food one day, and they'll spend the entire day delivering it. Like, they deliver it in little pieces. They'll come to the door with a couple of things in a bag, and then like 30 minutes later they'll come to the door again with a couple of things in a bag. Some things they'll send in boxes, like single radishes they'll send in a box to the other mailbox. Sometimes there's stuff that's left in the office. There's no rhyme or reason to it. That's just how they do it. That's just how they do it. Babe. Babe. Here. Bye. Bye, babe. Bye, Leoti. Thanks. Another really bizarre thing about these delivery drivers is that they'll come and bang on the door. Like in the United States, if you heard banging like that, you'd think it was the police. Bang, 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 bang. But no, it's just the delivery driver. They're just incredibly impatient. They bang on the door, and then they'll give you like 10 seconds or less. No. 1, 2, about 3 seconds. And then bang, 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 bang. They're banging on the door again. And it's like, Jesus, man. I mean, like, it takes me like 10 or 15 seconds to get to the door if I'm downstairs, you know, and then bang, 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 bang. It's like, Christ. And then they'll come at night. Like, they'll show up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes they'll come at like 11 o'clock. I swear to God, they've come at 11 o'clock at night. And this one guy, he wears a flashlight on his head so he can see at night, and he's got the he's got the flashlight pointed directly in front of him, and he doesn't turn it off when he does his deliveries. So you open the door, and immediately you're blinded by this flashlight that's in your face. And every time he does it, and he's done it dozens of times, I like do this, like, oh, whoa, I put my hand in front of my face, like, whoa, and he stares blankly, like he's never gotten a hint. Like, I don't know if no one else has ever told him, like, dude, don't shine your flashlight in my face when I open the door. I already thought that you were a police officer. I'm from the United States, where the police just shoot people if they're in a bad mood or whatever, right? You sound like the cops when you knock on the door, and then I open the door, and I got a flashlight shined in my face. I'm gonna go on straight defense mechanism and start wailing out on you, or run and hide or something. Like, dude, chill. Just knock like a normal person and wait like 15 or 20 seconds like a normal person. And when I answer the door, turn your freaking flashlight off. But that is just sort of the weird logic that you have to deal with when you live in China. Especially when you're from the West, where the logic or the idea of logic is just so much different. And I remember reading online before I came to China, I was researching, you know, to see like, should I go to China? Should I go and live in China before I actually decided to come out here? I remember reading some guy said, you know, you can go to China and you can live there for 20 years, you can live there for 30 years, you can live there, you know, half your life. But one, you're never going to assimilate ever, because even if you learn the language, even if you come to terms with the culture, nobody's ever going to really accept you. as one of their own. You'll always be an outsider. And I found that to be, that is absolutely 100% true. And the second thing is, you will never actually understand the Chinese culture. You will never come close to understanding the Chinese culture. You may as well just give up right when you get here, because it's never gonna make any sense to you whatsoever. Like, I've been here 5 years and I feel like the culture is even more of an enigma to me now than it was the day that I landed here. Because at least when I landed here, I didn't know anything about the culture. And so when I encountered things that were strange or odd or weird or seemed counterproductive or illogical, I would just think to myself, well, that's probably something that I'll understand later when I come to terms with this culture. When I understand the nuances of the culture a little bit better, that's something that I'll get, you know? And I found out later that no, that's not true. You never get anything. None of the stuff that happens actually makes any sense. Like in the States, if you order food from the grocery store once at 9 o'clock in the morning, they'll deliver it that day, probably before noon, in one package. They won't send it in multiple packages, multiple delivery drivers throughout the entire day till 11 o'clock at night, and then stick a single radish in a cardboard box and put it in the mail locker, and then force you to go and put a code in to pick up your frickin' radish. They won't do that. Anyway, you guys want to see an abandoned brothel? I'm walking to work right now, and there's this, it's an abandoned brothel that just has been sitting here for years. It's sort of, I guess it's disguised as like part of the auto, like the car place. But look at this. We just walk right in and see these brothels. There used to be a bunch of them all up and down this street. And you know they're brothels because they all have like they all have either pink or purple lights at night. And also, you know, because there's very hooker looking women sitting in the front here. They would sit on a couch and like knit, and they were very prostitute looking. And then one night, I guess, all the police came and they busted all these places. And when I say busted, I mean they literally came in and they like, I guess they had sledgehammers and they busted walls out, they busted windows out. And I was walking to work one morning and I noticed, oh, all the brothels are just destroyed. Like the police, they just completely destroyed all the brothels. But this is the remnants, man. This is what is left over from the brothels. Like, dudes would come here and pay women, and the women would take them up to these rooms, and, well, they do what prostitutes and Johns do. And, I don't know if I can convey this very well with my crappy little camera phone here, but, this is not a very nice place. It's not very clean. It doesn't smell very good. There's grime everywhere. And believe it or not, this isn't even the only abandoned brothel that I have found. Like, I happened upon one today, another one, a much, much bigger one, that I'm gonna give a tour of on this channel at some point in the near future. I need to get a better camera than the one I'm using now to do that tour, because it's massive. It's a massive brothel. Another just abandoned place. I think that I live in a place called Songjiang, which is on the outskirts of Shanghai, and I really do believe that like 50% of this town or village or whatever it is just abandoned. Like, as I'm talking to you about abandoned places, we're passing by all these storefronts. All these storefronts are abandoned, and not just abandoned, but just left to decay. Just all of this disarray, all of these abandoned places. Like, there's more places that are abandoned. I hate kids. I hate kids. There's more of these places that are abandoned than there are places that are not abandoned. Like this whole area right here. This is this was a car repair place. And look, this place, abandoned, man. And it's like, it's a massive place. I actually have an exploration of this place on my channel that I did. And this goes far, far beyond that way. Like, there's basically a whole little town in there that's just completely abandoned. Abandoned apartments, an abandoned school. There's the abandoned brothel is back there. Abandoned stores, abandoned warehouses, abandoned industrial plants. And all these things that I'm talking about with the buildings, the construction, all of that would be, the businesses, all that would be fine. It would be just something to sort of be amused by. If it weren't for the fact that it's not just businesses that do this, it's also residential properties that do this. When people move into a new apartment, they gut the apartment. They tear the entire apartment out. Whoa, look at this dog. That puppy is awesome. Little puppy. He's a puppy. Hey, hey, he's a little puppy. This is a really pretty dog. Look at his little face. That is such a pretty dog. He's a pretty dog. He's a puppy. Anyway, as I was saying, when you've got all this construction, when people come into their new apartments and they tear the apartment out and renovate, and when you live in a building like I do that's multiple floors and you're surrounded by other apartments, it's basically just people moving in and out constantly and construction going on constantly. So all day, every day, there's the sound of drilling and sawing and construction. And it's not just like that where I live. It's any expat I've ever talked to about this has experienced the same thing. Just perpetual construction sounds all the time. So even when you're at home, you're not at peace. You're not just like sitting down reading a book. It's like, nah, nah, all day long. So this is an abandoned property that I've explored from time to time. I actually have a video on my friend's channel called Burbex, and he put a video up recently, last week, of me and him exploring this property, this big abandoned, sprawling abandoned property. But look, there's some dudes in there, there's some construction workers in there, and it looks like they're building something. You guys want to have some fun? I know a way into this place where I can get in and they won't see me. So let's jump over there. I'm gonna jump over the fence up here, and I'm gonna show you guys the inside of this property. It's really cool, actually. It's like, I think it's an abandoned fire engine plant. Like they made fire engines, I think. Oh! Oh, I stepped in shit again. Are you serious? Did I really step in human shit again? Are you serious, dude? And it's normal for me now. It's just sort of been normalized. Like stepping in a pile of human feces. Oh, it's normal. And when you step in something gross, you're just like, oh, the first thing that you think of is like, it must be human shit. You know, in the States, you're like, oh, I stepped in dog shit. But here, you're like, oh, no, I just stepped in human shit. Because you see human shit more than you see dog shit. All right, in order to get to that place, I got to jump over this fence. So, let's go. Okay. I'm not really supposed to be here, so I'll try to be a little bit quieter. But, you know, I was saying earlier, like, how do you cope? You know? How do you cope with being bombarded by horrible things all the time? And the way that I like to cope is I like to go to places where nobody else is. I like to go to a place that's quiet, that's desolate, big, empty, sprawling place, and just sit and wallow in my own misery. And places like this, these big, empty, you know, the places I was complaining about earlier, they're actually really nice places to do that in. See, in China, there are a lot of people, and that's just putting it very lightly. There are 1.3 or maybe even 1.4 billion people in this country. It's a lot of people, and it's for somebody from the West, especially somebody from Texas, which has a lot of space and not nearly as many people in that space. It's difficult to come to terms with something like that, with just always being surrounded by people. And so it's nice to be able to have a place where you can go where there's no people. But in China, there's no place like that. Even at your own home, your own apartment, there's always delivery drivers coming, people banging on the ceiling, there's always construction, you know. So it's like, and for me, I have a wife and kid, so I don't really ever get to be alone. But this place is a very nice place to come and to be alone. But now I have to get up and leave my little fantasy world here and go to work teaching little kids English. I do want to show you guys one more thing before I leave that's in this room back here that I just thought was the strangest thing. In this room that could easily be like a set from a horror movie, are these U.S. Army propaganda posters. I want to point out, this is Songjiang, Shanghai, China, and they've got these U.S. Army posters. There's other Army and military, U.S. Army and military memorabilia scattered throughout this place. I just thought that was very, very odd. And the first time I saw those posters, I got this feeling like maybe I shouldn't be in this place, you know? Maybe I shouldn't explore this place. But I don't really think it matters much, because this place is just a husk of whatever the hell it may have been at one point or another. If there were any secrets here, they've long been removed. I want to show you one more thing though. Do you see these behind me? These are gigantic tanks of filthy, disgusting, diseased, molded, half-solid water. Like, look at that. That's water. Can you imagine, like, swimming around in there, jumping in there? I have this strange fear of large bodies of water. Like, this, to me, this is the most terrifying thing that's in this place. These huge tanks of water. Seriously, does anybody else feel the same thing as me? It's just this, like, repulsion. Like, oh my God, look at this. Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Go to work. Oh, there's more human poo. You see that? There's multiple splatters of human feces. I'm not going to make the same mistake again for a third time. This time I'm cognizant of the human feces and I'm going to avoid it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Jeez. Who seriously? Whoever's shit that is has some very, very serious problems with their body. Like, that is the feces of a person who is going to die very, very soon. That's like unlike it looked like it came out of an elephant, like a not even a healthy elephant. So I'm about 10 minutes away from work. Let's talk a little bit about why I'm a disgruntled ESL employee. And the answer is complex, but it's also simple. The industry is stupid. The industry is horrible. It's a horrible industry. It's an industry that is not even real. It's just it's a face industry. So in China, there's this thing called face. And it means the same thing it means anywhere else, but on a much, much deeper level, on a level that's just embedded, ingrained into the fabric of this society. And face is this kind of idea about, I have a hard time even explaining it because I don't really understand it myself. Oh, there's that construction. Hear that? We got some construction. Look at this. Face is this sort of unspoken point system that people use to gauge their own and others' worth, their popularity and their moral worth and their worthiness as human beings and their standing in society and the way that they're looked at by other people and also the way that they look at themselves. Face can be given and it can be taken. I do not really understand the mechanisms whereby this takes place, but apparently it does, and face is very important, to the point where if you make somebody lose face, they will go absolutely ballistic. And if you give someone face, it's like the greatest thing that you can do. As a matter of fact, there is an insult that I have heard here before. There's an insult that people use for one another, and it is, you don't even care about face. And that's considered a bad thing. Like, you don't care about face. Now, I personally could give a shit less about face. but apparently it's a really important thing. And the thing is, with ESL is this industry that sort of is a way that people can get face. And they get face by looking good to their peers. They get face by doing things that other people think are worthy of giving face. And this point system, this face thing, it's not real. It doesn't even really exist. It's just like a cultural thing that people have just collectively decided on. I mean, they didn't even decide on it. It's just like, it's something that you're born into, and you just come to understand this is how people interact. But something you can do that's really good to get face for you and your family is to send your kid to learn English from a white person that is from the United States. Go away, kid. I don't want to talk to you, get out of here, stupid little kid. That's a good way to get face, is to because it's really important for whatever reason. They think English is this really important thing that people here need to know, even though the vast majority of these kids living in this village are never going to step foot out of this village. They're definitely, most of them aren't going to ever leave China. You know, it's a useless thing for most people. I'm not against kids learning English or learning another language, but here it's like a vanity thing. I mean, that's what face is. It's a good way to get face. It's a vanity thing. It's this superficial thing. So more important than me, the white guy from America, going in and teaching kids English, more important than that is the appearance that I am going and teaching these kids English. More important than them learning is the appearance that they're learning. So the ability to take pictures with me, to take videos with me, for them to show, to post pictures of their certificates that they get at these training centers and schools, that's worth more than the kids actually learning anything, because everyone gets face, including the kids. You know, good parents, good mom and dad, it means they have money because these training centers are really expensive. Some of them are. It means that they care so much about their kids because they're learning English. Their kids are being immersed in the wonderful world of white, and that's a whole different, I've talked about this in some of my other videos. That's an entirely different subject, is the weird racial thing. You know, if you're black or Indian, or especially Chinese, if you're East Asian looking or Asian looking at all, even if you're from the States and you speak perfect English and you have a master's or a doctorate in teaching language, they don't want you to teach their kid. No, they want the white guy or girl that's from the US or Canada. Did you hear that? That guy is hacking stuff up from his lungs and spitting it all over the place. That's also another very common thing that you see pretty much everywhere you go. But one of the consequences of this superficiality of the ESL industry is that everybody, this is another thing that's difficult to explain, but everybody knows, somewhere in their brains, they know what's going on. You know, the elephant in the room, everybody knows it's there, but nobody acknowledges it, and they corroborate with one another so that they don't have to acknowledge it. It's like that. There is, staring, he's gonna look at me, he's gonna stare at me while he's smoking a cigarette, gonna stare at the white guy, look at the white guy's walking. So one of the consequences of ESL being just a face industry is the fact that the people that are in management, the people that own the training centers or the administrators of the schools, or anybody that's involved with organizing the lesson plans, organizing the schedules of the teachers, and just managing the company, they manage it with that in mind. They know that there's certain things that nobody really actually cares about, such as education, fostering a reasonable learning environment, keeping things clean, keeping kids safe. You know, as long as it looks like you're doing those things, you're good to go. Another thing that really gets to me here is all the old people, man. There's so many old people. Old people are everywhere. And hey, I'm cool with old people. I know one day I'm gonna be an old person. But the old people here, they have this sort of, it's not just a seniority thing. It's like, a god complex because of Confucius and the philosophy that people live their lives by, and also the way that the government sort of manipulates the education system and the social system to control people. It's put anybody that is in a position of power is in a great position of not just like grand authority and amazing power, but also like godlike respect. You absolutely have to respect these people that are your superiors. And for whatever reason, old people, even if they've never done anything in their lives to deserve that superiority, you have to give them that superiority, and they soak it in. And so old people here tend to just be like, they have whatever they want. Like I've been approached by old people on the bus or on like the metro, on the subway. They'll just kick your legs, like, because they want you to get up and give them your seat, or they just expect things, you know. And the place I live, Songjiang, is infested with old people. It's not all of China, I guess. It's just Songjiang. I guess it's an old. I live in a place called Old Town, and because the town is old, also I guess all the people are old. Maybe they were young at one point, but now they're just festering zombies, and you have to respect them and give them, you know, they're just entitled to anything and everything, and you do not question them. And they're everywhere, man, and they are everywhere all the time. And it kind of is like a George Romero film. So how do you cope? How do you cope? Well, I already showed you one way that I like to cope, but another way that I used to like to cope is called drugs and alcohol. The thing is, in China, you really can't take drugs. I mean, you can find them, like they're at the nightclubs, and there are people that sell anything you can get in the States, you can get here, I assume. I haven't delved much into that world, but most things you can get. But man, you're gonna pay a pretty hefty fine if you get caught by the police with illegal substances. And by a pretty hefty fine, I mean your freaking head. So it's generally advisable not to take any drugs. So it's like this ultra stressful society, this ultra stressful industry, and you know, people are ready to burst at the seams. People are just like me 5 years in, are like, just going absolutely, just very teetering on the brink of just insanity. And you're like, man, I could really use insert drug that I want here. I could really use some weed, man. I could really use some whatever, some Xanax. I could really use something to just chill me out or reset my brain. And they're like, no, 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 no. You can't take that. You can't do that. You can't do that here. You do that here, you're gonna die. I'm exaggerating. They won't actually kill you. I actually know people who have been deported. I know people who have been to prison in China for weed, for just testing positive for weed. So that's out of the question. We can't do that. And alcohol was a way that I did cope for a while, but I quit drinking about 3 months ago because I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I was, you know, I never was drinking around her during the day, but I would wait until I put her to bed, and I would just drink beer until I passed out. I did it every night for 2 years, 2.5 years, and I just decided 3 months ago, I can't do this to myself anymore. It's bad for me. It's bad for my body. I don't want my daughter, I don't want to mess my brain up, and I also don't want my daughter growing up and being like, my daddy was an alcoholic, you know? So I quit drinking alcohol, and I quit drinking coffee a month ago because I'm just trying to, you know, approach life a little more organically. I don't want to sound like a hippie, but I'm just cutting out all the substances. So I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't smoke weed, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink alcohol. And you can tell that I'm on edge, but I've been on edge since the beginning. I just am I'm much closer to the edge now than I have ever been in my life. We're gonna go to Family Mart, and we're gonna get stuff that I can use to help me de-stress myself. I'm gonna show you another way that you can cope without drugs or alcohol or coffee. Sugar, my friends, sugar. Sugar is like the final devil, the final demon that I have to battle, and I am going to give up sugar very soon, but not today. So this is the place that I work. Well, I work in a small training center that's in this sort of cluster of businesses, I don't know, cluster of commercial properties. It's called the Walmart building because there's a Walmart in the building. It's not even really a very big Walmart, and it certainly doesn't dominate the entire complex. I don't know why people call it the Walmart building, but that's what they call it because it has a freaking Walmart on the second floor or the third floor. And I work in this building, but I want to do one thing before I go to work. I'm going to take you one more place that I always like to go. You are getting an exclusive look at a day in the life of an insane person today. So, I bought some candy, a little bit of sugary drink to drink, a non-caffeinated. But I don't really like drinking anything and eating food while I'm walking around in the street because people already stare at me anyway. But it makes me like ultra self-conscious when people are staring at me, watching me eat. Especially when they're staring at me and they're watching me eat junk food. I feel like they're judging me. So I'm gonna go to my secret place to eat junk food. I'm gonna take you with me. It won't be secret anymore. Don't tell anybody. So here we are on the rooftop of the Walmart building. I'm gonna climb up one of these little mini building things, whatever they're called. I'm gonna climb up there where no one can get to me, and I'm gonna eat some candy. And you know what? I have complaints about the candy too. I have complaints about the candy. So let's go. So I'm up as high as I can get right now. Well, I'm physically high, not like high. And I'm gonna eat some candy and then jump down and go to work. And I want to show you this abomination of a candy that I have in my pocket right now. So this is Starburst, right? But this is like Chinese Starburst. These aren't real Starburst. Look at them. Look at these things. That's not Starburst. All right, and they're coated with some weird like sugar looking stuff, but it's not sugar. Maybe it's MSG or something. I don't know what it is. But they're not, the texture isn't like Starburst. The taste isn't like Starburst. They're cheap imitations of Starburst. I think this is a rip-off. I don't even think it's real Starburst at all. I don't think it's manufactured by the same company. And it makes me very angry, but I'm gonna eat them anyway. Honestly, the best part about my life right now, other than the wife and the baby, who I don't even get to spend that much time with them, but other than my family life, the best thing about China right now is this rooftop and these freaking Starburst. How pathetic is that? No! Alright, we're off to my work, my job. Put little quotation marks on that. Job. The thing I do for money. And it's on the second floor of this building, so we can just walk right from the stairwell into the school. Little quotation marks around that word too. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. You ever seen that video, the last video that guy took? He was in love with Bjork, and he shot himself on camera for Bjork. Like he sent her some bombs in the mail and he shot himself in the face, he shot himself in the mouth. Right before he killed himself, he videotaped this happening, and right before he killed himself, he did this thing where he was like amping himself up to finally do it. That's what I always do before I open this door to go to work. I'm at work. Now I'm at work. Now I gotta put on my teacher face. Teacher face is like, hello. Okay, this is Anna. Anna's my coworker. Hi. And she's gonna tell us a story about, I swear I did not set this up. She's not lying. This really just happened today. Okay, so you were driving to work, right?
I was driving to work, and I stopped at the red light. And I was waiting for the light to turn green.
You were driving on what? I'm sorry, what were you driving on?
I was driving a scooter.
It's your scooter?
Yeah.
Like you own the scooter?
Yeah, it's mine.
Okay.
So, and I was waiting for the lights to turn green so I could turn And then this old man came and he just crashed into my scooter. So I
An
was
old
like,
man on a motorbike as well.
Yeah.
How old would you say he was?
I guess something like 70. 70.
So he crashed into you. Did you fall over?
Oh yes, I fell over. Even my helmet fell off my head. Yeah, and my scooter it fell off, and the old man also.
The old man fell also.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did you call the police or did he call
I didn't. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I was checking myself first. I was like, something happened because I felt like my nose was bleeding, but it wasn't. So the old man was sitting and he was like, moaning like he was in pain. I don't know why, because it was me most of it. I got hit.
Did you get hit from behind?
Yes.
Or from the side?
From behind.
From behind.
So the policeman came, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And first he asked the old man, "Are you okay?" And then like nobody even cared that I was there. I'm like, I'm serious. And
Because he's Chinese.
Yeah.
They got to deal with their own first.
Yeah, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And then he turned to me like, "Oh, you're okay, right?" And he was like, "Oh, it's okay. He's an old man. Maybe he has some problem with his eyes." So I was like, "Then what the fuck? He's driving. He has problem with his eyes." Of course, I didn't get any reply on that.
And then they just left?
I left first.
You left?
Because I didn't want to stay there any longer. Yeah.
But you're okay now.
I think so.
You think you're okay? You might be in pain tomorrow though.
I hope I won't be.
So you see how that story sort of exemplifies what I was saying earlier about old people having this sort of superiority. Even the police, even the protectors of citizens and like enforcers of the law, even they're like, well, he's old. It's okay if he smashed into you and he was driving erratically. He's old. You know, and that's proof. I mean, it's not proof, but it's anecdotal evidence. Damn, the bathrooms are pretty clean today. This is the cleanest I've seen this bathroom in a long time. Yeah, this is pretty nice. It's 1 minute to class time, and I realized I left my bag on the roof. Now I gotta run back downstairs, teach a class. I got two kindergarten classes today, I think. And both of the classes are an hour long. 30 minutes, and then a 5-minute break, 25 minutes. And then another 30 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then I can go home. So come to my hell, and teach English with me. Oh my God. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I went up on the roof to eat candy in peace, and to eat my disgusting Starburst in peace. And I left my bag upstairs, and I was late for class because I had to go and grab it. Although, I will say it's very nice that my bag didn't get stolen. So that's like the best thing that's happened to me all day. Hello, class!
Hello, teacher!
I don't really have anything else for you today. Sorry about that. You guys can go take a break. Take a break. Go. Get out of here. Go take a break. Go. Get on out of here. Go take a break. Go. Get on out of here. So now I'm hiding behind this thing, this screen at the front entrance of the school, and I'm eating chocolate. And I'm thinking about the fact that I don't really want to teach English anymore today, or at all. But especially not right now. So I think I'm going to shake things up a little bit. Maybe teach something a little different. Today, we are going to learn about how to be a superhero. Because I am a superhero. Did you guys know? I am a superhero. Goodbye, class. Get out of here. Get. So now I have one more class to teach from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then I can go home. Do you guys smell that? I stepped today, I stepped in poop today. It was human poop. So sorry about that, guys. You can go and take a break. 5 minutes, go. Take a break. Get. Go take a break. Go. Why don't you want to take a break? Why don't you want to take a break? Oh, Jesus Christ. 25 more minutes. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Goodbye, class. All right. Get on out. Get. Bye-bye. All right, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm actually really tired, and I feel kind of too lazy to walk the 20 minutes all the way home. So I think I'm gonna take a bus. Well, I don't have anything more to say today. I'm just gonna go home and put the baby to bed, go to bed myself, do my nightly house chores. Listen, if you like this video, you should definitely consider subscribing to my channel. Check out some of my other videos, give this video a big thumbs up, and tell me what you think about it in the comment section, because this is kind of a new format that I'm playing around with. Trying to be less anal retentive about the editing process and just put stuff together quickly. So definitely tell me what you think about it. I hope you enjoyed my disgruntled day. Today actually wasn't nearly as disgruntled as a lot of my days have been, or as a lot of my days have the potential to be. Anyway, thank you for watching Try Travelogues. We'll see you next time.